The most difficult is Loma. The most money is Javante. And then you got Shakur, will be the most technical.
Recent reports confirm that Shakur Stevenson will be fighting Joe Cordina on the October 12th undercard of Riyadh season. It seems as though all the trash talk for a Gervonta Davis fight is flying out the window. Professional boxer Fraser Clark has serious doubts when it comes to Joe Cordina taking on a challenge like Shakur Stevenson. He said that Joe is good in terms of skill, but it seems as though Shakur is unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Joe Cordina for me, not just one of my best friends in the sport ever. You know, such a good person. But skill-wise, he's right up there. The problem being, Shakur is also a phenomenon. Like,
Fraser praised Shakur's boxing ability by saying, "When it comes to the boxing talent, the boxing know-how, the boxing pedigree, obviously you have Lomachenko there as well, but for me, I don't think there is anyone better than Shakur Stevenson." Clark understands where Cordina is coming from. Joe faced a loss in his previous bout, and he has a point to prove by taking on a serious opponent like Shakur Stevenson. Fraser stated that obviously Joe is doing his training to go up against a defensive fighter like Shakur, but it's a very difficult task to beat Stevenson. Clark is convinced that Shakur is a generational talent, and he has seen him train in the gym against Britain's best boxers. Fraser further adds on Shakur's talent, "I think he is the closest thing to Floyd Mayweather. This generation will see." Meanwhile, Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn declares that it will be a big challenge for Cordina to move up in weight and fight a talented boxer like Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I've spoken to Joe about fighting Shakur Stevenson. Joe's up for it, but he also understands the challenge. Ideally, moving up a weight division, you'd probably want an easier fight than Shakur Stevenson, but Joe is at the age where he wants to be involved in the biggest fights.
Eddie Hearn stated that Joe is getting the opportunity to fight the biggest fights, so he shouldn't waste this chance to make a name for himself. That will solidify his position in the division, as well as allow him to make a huge sum of money. Meanwhile, Joe Cordina praised the fighters in the 135-pound lightweight division, but he sees himself going up against Shakur Stevenson out of all of them. Joe said that the fight with Shakur will be a beautiful spectacle for the fans.
The most difficult is Loma. The most money is Javante, and then you got Shakur, will be the most technical. Obviously, they're all great in their own right, you understand. But if I had to choose one, just because of either he was at super feather also, and after I won a world title and he called me out, would be Shakur. Like, I respect him. I think he's a great fighter. I'm a fan. Do you understand? I'm a boxing fan before anything. And I do rate him.
Cordina is a boxing fan above all, and he respects Shakur to his core, but that is the fight he wants to make and prove his talent against. Joe further added, "You only become great when you beat great fighters, and to be the best you have to beat the best." Joe stated that Shakur Stevenson is the top 5 pound-for-pound boxers in the world. Shakur Stevenson disrespected Joe Cordina back in 2022 when Joe won a world title, and he called Stevenson out. Cordina commented that it is just the way the Americans behave when they talk bad about the person calling them out. Joe said that there is a huge difference between the Americans and the British because the people from the States continuously run their mouths. He said that they are all gangsters, and some of them can fight well, but they all talk. Cordina alluded to the fact that this dirty talk is necessary to sell a fight, and that is exactly what they have been successful in doing. Furthermore, Cordina pointed out that he had a little back and forth with Shakur on social media before their fight was finalized.
They all wear big chains. They all wear big chains.
I know, man. I only wear 2 little chains. You know, it's only because of my grandmother's. But yeah, like, they're just so brash, but like with that, they talk and they all think they're gangsters with it. It's crazy. But yeah, we had a little back and forth on Twitter, Insta, whatever it is.
Joe commented that Shakur wasn't particularly disrespectful when he slammed him on social media, but the featherweight fight in 2022 would have been a good fight. He said that Shakur moved up to the lightweight division and Cordina regrets that he didn't do the same. Cordina lost to Anthony Kakas in his previous fight this year, which led him to reflect on his style of boxing and his goals for the future. He said that he would love nothing more than to win another world title at a different weight class and support his family the best he can. Joe Cordina further commented on the potential fight between between Tank Davis and Shakur. He said, "I'll be honest, I don't see anyone beating Tank in that way. I don't see anyone. Well, someone might just throw a lucky dig and put him a kick. Tank's confidence has just gone through the roof ever since he has beaten Leo Santa Cruz." Stevenson recently defended his WBC title against Artem Harutyunyan. He has consistently claimed that both Davis and Lomachenko have been dodging him. With the theoretical obstacles removed, the path to a Davis fight is clear now more than ever, should both parties be willing. Professional boxer Floyd Mayweather, who was instrumental in shaping much of Tank Davis's career prior to their contentious separation, highlighted the two fighters as the top talents in the division, each excelling for distinct reasons. Mayweather mentioned that there are fighters in the weight classes between 130, 135, and 160, emphasizing that this area is particularly competitive. He noted that, currently, Gervonta Davis is likely the hardest hitter at 135, while Shakur Stevenson is undoubtedly the most skillful fighter in that weight class.
Well, you got guys fighting between 130, 135, and 140. They stack, around that area. So, as of right now,
skills that pay the bills.
Well, the two guys, the biggest puncher, I feel, at the 135 would probably be Gervonta Tank Davis.
Mm-hmm.
But the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevenson.
Mayweather added that boxing is fundamentally about skills, referencing Pernell Whitaker as an example. He pointed out that Whitaker, despite not being a powerful puncher, was very exciting, tough, and fought against everyone. Mayweather mentioned that Shakur Stevenson is trying to follow a similar path by seeking to fight the best opponents available. He noted that Stevenson's contract with Top Rank has ended and expressed hope that they could collaborate to elevate Stevenson to the next level with the desired fights. On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson talked about his beef with Gervonta Davis. He said that everybody knows that they are going to fight eventually. It's only a matter of when they are going to fight.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever you can share.
It's kind of bigger than boxing, I guess you could say, because like the history and like everything that went on. It's hard to even speak on it just because of the fact that we gotta fight. So at the end of the day,
you feel that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Shakur said that he is the best, and so is Gervonta Davis, so it's a terrific matchup. He commented that the only way both of us can't fight is if somebody loses to another guy and one of us is not the champion. Stevenson further added about Tank, "But I think like with both of us, we both fighters that's really good fighters." Tank Davis has a lot of power and boxing IQ from the perspective of a boxing fan. Shakur said that Tank is very strategic in setting guys up. Shakur also explained that Davis has been fighting since he was a child, and so is he. Stevenson explained Tank's last battle with Frank Martin. Since Frank's experience was mostly of an amateur, he could not compete with Tank on that level. Stevenson explained that Frank used all of his energy in the initial rounds, and he let his gas run out, and by round 8 he went home. Shakur Stevenson seemed absolutely ready to fight Tank Davis. He said that the fight can happen, anytime, anywhere, and whenever Davis wants it to happen.
Whenever. I think that I'm ready for it, he ready for it, we both in our primes. It can happen next, it can happen next year, it can happen whenever he say, let's fight. That's when it's gonna happen.
I see you online with his coach and stuff. Like, why are you doing that, bro?
Tank's co-trainer Kenny Ellis has a huge beef with Shakur Stevenson, which can be seen on social media. Stevenson said that he doesn't have a real beef with either Tank or his coach, but they took his words however they wanted to take it. Shakur said that back in the day he had a real relationship with Kenny, but now he is just trolling on social media. In addition, the October 12th undercard has been released with big names including Shakur Stevenson and Chris Eubank Jr. As Shakur's official fight with Cordina got confirmed, Shakur explained his motives behind fighting Joe in the Riyadh season. "And for the fans who FW me, I care about y'all for sure, but understand this. This is a business and it's make as much money as you can in this business. People want me to sit and wait around for literally every other fighter to make their decision. Whether they want to fight me now or later, but in reality I will be waiting and waiting, but nah, I'm gone. Go get this bag over here real quick, cause that's what matters most to me now." Chasing the bag. Previously, Shakur had been chasing Tank Davis, Lomachenko, and William Zepeda, but the fights were far from realistic at this stage in his career. When the fight fight between Joe Cordina and Shakur Stevenson got confirmed, Kenny took the chance to mock Shakur Stevenson. Ellis wrote, huge fight coming up, Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina, get your tickets now. Kenny alluded to the fact that Shakur had been constantly calling out Tank, but he didn't get the fight. So, Kenny made fun of Stevenson on social media. On the other hand, former boxer Paulie Malignaggi said that Shakur was aiming to fight Tank Davis, but his team never called Shakur's management. This led to Shakur turning his eyes to fighting Joe Cordina.
The advisor for Team Stevenson said our phone lines are open and we're waiting for Team Davis to go and negotiate. I'm assuming that call never came. That's what I have to assume. The fact that Stevenson is going to now negotiate with Cordina when all the clamor has been about Davis, I'm assuming here that the call never came from Team Davis for the negotiation.
Malignaggi was skeptical whether Tank wanted to fight Shakur at all because Paulie believed that Gervonta was becoming the new Canelo. Paulie wants to see the best fighters fighting the best in their division, which is exciting, but it doesn't seem like Tank is complying as of now. Paulie said that just like Canelo has all the belts, his avoidance to the top contenders is very annoying, but in Shakur and Tank's case, both are world-class champions. Moreover, Paulie is convinced that Cordina is solid, but he is coming off a loss, which makes him a less famous opponent for Shakur. Paulie was of the view that the rules are ever-changing in boxing, and same is the case with Joe Cordina. This is what I'm saying about before they bend the rules whenever they want to. You now all of a sudden you can come off a loss and get a title fight. You never could do this before. I don't understand how that's even possible. It pains Paulie to hear that Shakur has to fight a less famous name in boxing when he could be fighting the best of the best like Tank Davis. Furthermore, former boxer Chris Algieri wasn't excited to see Shakur Stevenson fight Joe Cordina. Chris added to Paulie's remarks of the matchup being far from what the fans want because Cordina is coming off of a loss.
That fight doesn't really do much for me, honestly. Like you said, Champ, Cordina coming off a loss, coming up a weight class to his first time fighting at 135, coming off of a bad knockout loss to fight Shakur Stevenson, who is just a fantastic fighter, great technician, and it doesn't really matter in terms of the layout of the 135-pound division for Shakur Stevenson. So
Algieri further added that the matchup he is really interested in is Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. He said that His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh should really be focusing on making that fight happen in the next Riyadh season. Meanwhile, the commentator from Showbiz The Adult Show declared that Shakur Stevenson fighting Joe Cordina, but this isn't because Shakur is ducking Tank Davis.
Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina. Okay, October 12th on the undercard of Beterbiev and Bivol. No. I listen, if you guys call it a Duckarone pizza, especially after our podcast this morning, I just wanted to put my finger on the boxing community, all right, especially the Showbiz The Adult community, just to see what you guys think. Shakur Stevenson fighting Joe Cordina. Is it a duck? Gervonta Tank Davis. I know you guys are already screaming duck.
If Shakur Stevenson were to take on Tank Davis at this moment in his career, then the fans will be focused on Tank rather than Shakur. Joe Cordina is the perfect guy for Shakur to go on a knockout tour against. Cordina being smaller in size and coming off a loss poses little threat to Stevenson. Shakur would need a knockout against Joe in order to recover his name as a great fighter. If Stevenson manages to knock out Joe, who is not known as a hard puncher, then Shakur can considerably increase his fan following. Boxing commentator Jim Lampley asserts that Shakur Stevenson is prioritizing winning over entertaining, which results in less exciting fights, but ensures his victories.
And how much am I going to stick to the mantra that my trainer has taught me, the approach that my intelligent understanding of boxing has given to me and taught to me, and accept the fact that maybe somewhere I'm going to hear boos in the background or disapproval from some fans or get ripped for it on the web when I leave the ring. Shakur Stevenson is choosing to win. And so far, in choosing to win, he's getting less entertaining.
Lampley further explains that fans are eager for more aggressive and thrilling performances. He highlights the tension between fighting strategically and entertaining the audience, noting that fans are generally less interested in a fighter who avoids risks to secure a win. He says, nobody wants to see Shakur Stevenson go in and play chess with a tabby cat. They want to see him fight. Stevenson's fight with Joe will eventually pave the way for him to chase William Zepeda and Tank Davis in future matchups. Do you think Shakur can get a knockout against Joe Cordina? Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.